Welcome to NFT Nation, the most relatable and reliable NFT and crypto podcast in the nation. I'm your host, Michael Wheeler, here with my co-host, Alex Ferguson.
What's going on, guys?
And in today's episode, we'll be interviewing Chris Weidmier, a member behind the Party Horse NFT collection, and asking him questions about his history and influence inside the NFT world, and also what he's planning on doing with the NFT project. But before we start with the questions with Chris, we would like our guest to kind of introduce himself and tell the audience what exactly he does.
Yeah, thank you guys for the introduction and allowing me to hop on tonight. Once again, my name is Chris Weidmier. Chris Weidmier. I'm a local Louisvillian here. I've been in the technology startup ecosystem for a number of years, really since I got out of college. And so I've had a couple startups in my past, some that have worked out and some that haven't, and everything in between. I've really been passionate about this what I would say kind of Web3 movement we've had going on in the past few years, which I think encapsulates a lot of what you all are talking about between crypto and NFTs. But to me, it's an interesting time right now, and it's one of those spaces that I really got into pretty heavily about 2 or 3 years ago. The NFT side, really the past, I don't know, probably 12 months or so. It's really had a lot of my attention, and this Party Horses concept came to be from a couple of friends I have locally that had some other ideas, and we can dive into the origin story in a little while. But really my background is in startups and technology consulting, strategy, and business development, whether it be working for large enterprise clients or doing my own startups and everything in between. But really passionate about technology and seeing Louisville grow and growing the tech sector here in Louisville, Kentucky.
Yeah, that's awesome to hear, especially someone that's inside the business world, getting into the NFT and crypto space to kind of join together with business and the new technology that's emerging to kind of push the crypto and NFT message. But I think we'll just start with the questions to get to know you a little bit better. You say like you first weren't into crypto and everything, and then like obviously with the Party Horses and everything else, you gradually learned more and more about it. Can you explain like your first experience with either crypto or NFTs? Like maybe you bought Bitcoin, or what was your first like experience with that?
Oh man, this is a good one. So my first Bitcoin experience is probably maybe 7 years old. I was at a bachelor party in Chicago, so I'll keep it PG for the listeners. But I was at a bachelor party in Chicago, and being in the tech space, had heard about Bitcoin and done some reading on it. Had a couple cocktails at this bar we were at. It was actually a really cool bar, bowling alley kind of concept. And so, anyways, they had a Bitcoin ATM inside of this bar, and I was like, man, I should just go ahead and do it, right? And I think I put in like $300 or something like that. Woke up the next morning, kind of had a little bit of that Hangover movie effect where I was like, oh, what did I do? Like, this is a dumb investment. My wife's going to kill me when I get home. I've already blown money on a bachelor party, much less me spending $300 on a portion of a Bitcoin. And so luckily a friend of mine that I was with was very well versed in the space, and he was able for me to return that Bitcoin. Now I don't want to look at what that would be worth today, as you guys can imagine. So that was my first time dipping my toe into it. Really kind of getting more involved in that side of it probably about 3 years ago. And I've been more on the Ethereum side as of late, but once again, I see value all across. But yeah, that's my intro to Bitcoin for you guys, where I had a really good deal that I should have probably held on to, but I ended up kicking it back and returning it, if you will.
Yeah. I'm noticing a lot of those Bitcoin ATMs around everywhere. Like I know like I'll walk into gas stations, I'll just look to my left, I'll see a Bitcoin ATM just sitting there.
Yeah, I mean, it's crazy, man. You could really do well, I think, because and I'll get into on the Party Horses side in a little bit, but like to me, I think the biggest fear for a lot of people is just the education aspect of it.
Yeah.
And I think if you took time to not even just like set up ATMs, but really just kind of set up a shop, right? Where it's like, hey, bring in $50, bring in $100, whatever you want, right? But like almost give like a tutorial to folks on the benefits of, cryptocurrencies, not just Bitcoin, and NFTs and kind of almost being like a concierge service. And I think if you set some of those up in some major cities, I think it would be a win-win for all parties where you can make a fee on top of it. You could get more and more people, to get rid of the stigma that sometimes crypto has, because once you get in it, it's not that scary. I mean, that's the funniest thing that we've seen is like the people that have like bought our NFT as their first crypto or Web3 NFT purchase, like they've hit us up and they're like, oh my God, I bought 3 more things on OpenSea last night, right? And so like you can see once you get in it and dive in, like I feel like majority of people are diving in head first once they do it, but it's ripping that Band-Aid off. And ATMs are one way to do it, but I think if you can really educate people on making sure they got their wallet set up properly, how to protect things, what does what in the space, I think you could really, it'd be a win for all parties. And I know there's some in some markets, but I just think that's an area that really could be expanded on personally.
Yeah, I mean, just in Louisville, I know there's so many people that still don't understand. I feel like that's a real good business opportunity for everyone.
Yeah, and you just think about Louisville, which is what, a top 20 city in the country.
Yeah.
And there's people here that still don't understand it. I mean, you could easily expand that to another 50 markets below us, right? And even really above us too. I mean, there's just so many people that maybe you read about it and, I've heard people talk about it at parties, but, are afraid to pull the trigger. And so I think there's just a huge opportunity just from an education standpoint. And obviously you should be compensated for your time if you're really helping someone get in the space. Mm-hmm. And to me, I think it's an interesting opportunity, no doubt.
Yeah, exactly. Especially with, I know Coinbase is doing a lot of stuff like, hey, if you want to watch a couple of videos about crypto, we'll give you like $5 of a random cryptocurrency. And even though like the cryptocurrency you receive may not be worth much, it's kind of just another way to get people into the market, because it's like, okay, this is going to take 10 minutes out of my day, like, and I'll get $10, like, sure, why not? And boom, now you have a Coinbase account, so It's like perfect. And now you're getting updates on the crypto market, which just dives you deeper into it, which is just kind of great to see.
Absolutely, that's a great way. That's a great point.
Yeah, so in the beginning of the podcast, you stated that you're kind of more into business in the beginning. Mm-hmm. So in investments, did you start off with stocks, or did you sort of just go straight into Bitcoin or crypto?
Yeah, I've always been intrigued by stocks, mainly because stocks are companies that I'm aware of, that maybe I use, maybe I buy their product. So to me, that's where I first got my, in the market really is where I learned to buy, hold, sell. And then I actually spent a little bit of time in the past few years actually working at a hedge fund. So understanding more what I would say the, larger investments and other opportunities as well. So it's the markets are something I've always been fascinated by. And it's always interesting, especially when you talk about this Web3 space on the crypto side, where you get so many different opinions from these traditional traders and brokers that I think it's fascinating to me to see. They all got different opinions on where they land in this space. And so that's been something I've really enjoyed watching from afar as well.
Yeah, it's always interesting to see how they kind of correlate, because like you always see how if the stock market goes up, you always see Bitcoin go up, and then the rest of the coins follow that. And I always find it really interesting.
Yeah, it's fascinating.
Yeah, the fact that you mentioned like working in a hedge fund kind of intrigues me, because we don't try to reveal too much about like our personal lives on the podcast, but I'm actually looking to major in finance when I go to college. So that's actually pretty cool to see that you actually have experience in this space.
Yeah, man. But there's a great group locally here in Louisville. If you're ever trying to, they're probably the only one in this probably 4 or 5 state region. So yeah, if you ever want an introduction there, I'm happy to do it.
Yeah. I mean, I'll definitely keep that in mind as I go like through the path of college. But you said like you obviously made your first Bitcoin investment, maybe not exactly was you did any research about it or anything, but when was like the time where you decided, okay, this is it, I'm gonna start going headfirst into crypto and I'm gonna understand this fully, and I believe like this is the future? Like what was the like turning point for you?
I think a lot of it is like I associate with. So I've got some friends that we've all got a myriad of friends, and you guys can probably attest to this and where you are in your lives, where you've got the friends smart and know how to make right decisions and kind of see where things are going. You've got your friends that are risk takers and will gamble a little bit more. You've got your dumb friends, your funny friends, and everything in between, right? But when I saw a trend of my smartest friends starting to get in this space, and not just like put $1,000 in, a couple thousand, but like really putting some substantial money in, probably about 4 or 5 years ago, that's when it really got my attention. And so that in particular, and you know, I used to run a software development design company here in town called Forest Giant, and Robbie Davis, who's actually the party horses. I'll never forget. Like we were on the same team, and you know, we were the first ones in majority of the mornings, and you know, Robbie and I would go back and forth almost every morning. I'm like, oh, should we buy Bitcoin today? What do you think? And like, I think once we started talking about it more on a regular basis, not just like something that was brought up at a lunch, you know, once a month, but like it was almost like an everyday conversation. I think that's really when I started to buy in and believe that, hey, there's something to this.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, it's just there's just a lot to understand about all the sort of like investments and stuff that go along with it.
Oh yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
especially.
Yeah, go ahead.
Oh, sorry, go ahead. Or yeah, I'll go. But especially like you said, like you've seen your smart friends get in everything. It's crazy to see, especially maybe in the past year and a half, especially like after like post COVID and everything. It's crazy to see the amount of like famous people you could say get into the crypto space and like learn more and more about it and like start investing in it. It's crazy to see.
Yeah, I mean, like, yeah, I'm like you. I've got friends that I never, that, you know, what if you would have talked to them, if we would have had this conversation, to your point, 12, 18 months ago, they would have told you it's the dumbest thing in the world. And now you look at their portfolio, let's just use their 401k, for example, and they probably pulled out 5% to sum up to 10% and have allocated and diversified into, you know, Bitcoin, Ethereum, and some other coins. So it's interesting that you're starting to see the scales tip where more and more people are becoming mainstream about it. You know, and I find that interesting, but I also think, you know, and you guys are on Twitter and social and you see it, but like, you know, the posts are real, are true too, where it's like, we're still so early on in all of this. That's what makes it really exciting as well. But yeah, I'm like you, it's been a funny, you know, 12 to 18 months to see a lot of people, you know, pivot that might not have believed in the space or just jumped in and really jumping in with both feet too, which is pretty fascinating to see.
Yeah. So moving away from more crypto and going to NFT project sort of questions, what's it like having a project in Louisville in like this huge NFT world, and you're really representing Louisville as the first kind of really big and known NFT collection?
Yeah, it's been fun. You know, there's been some groups that have come before us. Like I don't know if you guys have seen Bushido's that Jeremy Booth did, and he was a really good blueprint for us. But you know, Jeremy didn't really advertise or market himself from like the Louisville perspective, kind of like we're taking on, right?
Yeah.
But like, you know, those have minted out and sold and done very, very well. So like Jeremy was the first person we kind of went to when we had this concept come about. You know, really just to backtrack a little bit, how it came about was we wanted to start a cryptocurrency that was backed by inflation-proof assets, and I think we'll still probably do that in the next 12 to 18 months, maybe longer. But to do something like that, you would have had to have a raise of like 20 to 30 million, give or take. And for us, like we have the team to do it, but we just didn't have the Web3 and the crypto chops yet, where we could probably lose some on the valuation side of that. And so, you know, one of the investors on this is a guy named Brooke Smith, who owns a bunch of racehorses. And he was like, well, what if y'all just threw my horses on the blockchain and treated it almost like a syndicate, you know, sold shares. And so that was something we kicked around. We kind of laughed about, but it was like, you know, if you look at the securities laws and stuff like that, it's still a little bit of a dicey play. And so we said, well, look, you know, what if we did an NFT first? The NFTs make sense. The adoption is there. People are loving it. And one of the guys on our team, a guy named Zach Jenkins, had the idea of like, well, what if the horses went to watch the humans race? And so that was really how Party Horses kind of spun up and spun out. And so obviously, you know, what Kentucky and Louisville's known for is horse racing and bourbon and events and things of that nature. And we said, well, let's shine a light on that, right? And it's you know, it is shining a light on Kentucky, but you know, if you look in our Discord group and our Twitter followers and our community, I mean, we've got folks from almost, I think, every continent except Antarctica, and I'm pretty sure we can fix that. But anyways, so it's turned into a global brand as such, is how we look at it. But we really wanted to shine a light on what Kentucky and Louisville are known for, right? And so obviously on the art side, you've got these 10,000 horses that will mint on March 15th that have really five just kind of five different levels from your infield horses that'll have the cutoffs and tattoos and look a little rough, all the way up to your Trillionaires Row that'll have the top hats and the monocles and everything in between. And so the art is there to cover the horse racing side, right? And so one of the things that we saw that was a gap and a miss really in the NFT space, we'd been to New York for some big events up there. We've been down to Miami for some NFT events. And we saw that some of the events were lacking. It was kind of like a lot of people standing around, which if you're an NFT company, like NFTs, and you probably don't know how to do events. And one thing we knew how to do was events. We've got a guy on our team named Joey Weidmier who throws phenomenal events, both locally and throughout the country, really. And so we said, look, what if we had a way where everybody that has a Party Horse NFT will have access to, select parties throughout the year. And so our first party will be on Friday night of Oaks Night, and we'll give access to about probably between 400 and 500 of our NFT holders, just because of venue space. You can't fit that many more people and derby parties throughout Louisville, as you guys know.
Can't fit 10,000 people in a little small
spot.
Yeah,
10,000 people, right? Now, the crazy thing is, like, you've gotten all these people that in our community that have kind of gotten a little upset, right? Which is a good problem to have because they want to go. And so, as we've told people, it's like, look, guys, this is the first party of many. Like, it's like software. You got to iterate. And so once we understand what works and what doesn't, we'll keep building on that. So we wanted to create really cool events. And we've done a number of meetups as well that, we've probably been averaging over 100 people easily at the 3 meetups we've had, which has been phenomenal to see and show that, there's been people that have driven down from Cincy, Indy, Lexington to these events. So it shows there's a regional play there. The other thing we saw that was lacking was some of the utility in some of these NFTs. Don't be wrong, like the art on a lot of stuff is awesome, right? That I see out there and the things that we've invested in and bought. But like, some of it you can tell it's a cash grab. They just want to throw some generative art out there, mint, and get out, right? That's not how we view this. We view this as a company and as a brand. And we said, well, look, we've got the event thing figured out. We've got the art figured out. I mean, Robbie's art is first class. And we said, what if we could add some utility behind it, right? Because you've got people that are still skeptical in this space. Because when we set out to build Party Horses, we said, look, if we can get, we know we could easily sell this out to just true crypto Web3 communities and enthusiasts. But we really set out to make a point. If we can maybe get 30% of net new, never bought an NFT in their life, that's a huge win for us. And we've already seen those numbers start to come through on the pre-mint that we sold out on last week. And so what I mean by that is, and so one way we figured we could do that and really add utility was if we partnered and gave everyone that bought the NFT a bottle of bourbon, but not just any bottle of bourbon, like a real cool bottle of bourbon. And so, we touched on a little bit on my background. I have relationships with large spirits companies, whether it be Brown-Forman, whether it be Sazerac, whether it be, Maker's Mark. And we talked to a number of these people and they were all interested, which was interesting to me because, I've dealt with corporate America and they can take a long time to make big decisions like this, right? And when we talked to Maker's Mark at the beginning of January, they were all in. We had an hour-long meeting and they loved it. They were like, what do you need from us? And we were like, look, we want to do a custom Party Horses Maker's Mark bottle. They're like, say no more, we're in. So we partnered with Makers. So every NFT holder will get a custom bottle of Maker's Mark. We did 2 different bottles for the pre-mint. So as long as you signed up for the pre-mint to get you on the whitelist, that's going to get you a bottle. And then all 10,000 NFT holders that mint on March 15th will get one pending they're 21 and over. So sorry guys, I know that doesn't check the box for you all yet, but it's pretty cool to see a global brand like Makers where everybody knows the red wax. And so what we'll do with those guys too is we're going to do 10,000 bottles, but we'll do 5 different bottles. So you'll have 2,000 individual bottles, of 5 different varieties that'll come out. We'll let the community vote on what those bottles will look like. But the cool thing is with Makers, they've been open to us and willing to kind of push the envelope and get creative and artistic with this thing. And so really at the end of the day, you get an amazing generative collection of art that Robbie Davis has designed. You're going to get access to events. And then at the third piece, you're going to get, some really cool Maker's Mark that is wild. We've already seen, we had bottle pickups starting last week and people have already been selling them for $400 a bottle on these bourbon markets. So like already paying for the NFT in of itself, just by flipping the bourbon, which is crazy to me. But it just shows you that there's a demand out there for just for just doing NFTs a little different, right? And that's how we're looking at it. And we want to reward our community for being early. Like I said, this is just the first of many things we're looking at doing. We've got a pretty interesting roadmap that's coming together that I think will make for a fun 12 months. And we're looking at it in like seasons, right? And so, like I said, that's the first thing that'll happen. But there's some really cool things that have come from it.
Yeah. I think that the utility part of your collection is what's going to stand out the most. Because, I mean,
yeah, exactly.
It's so pre-mint. It's already pre-mint, and you're already getting a bottle of Maker's Mark. I mean, there's obviously going to be a lot more utilities with this NFT, and I think it has a lot of potential.
Yeah, no, I think so too. And that's what, one thing we wanted to out of the gate convey to people was like, look, we're not treating this as a cash grab or, let's mint, we're out of here. Like, we look at this as a long-term brand. And I think by fulfilling promises early on, by saying, hey, I mean, we have people that literally pre-minted that morning, and within 10 hours, they were holding the bottle in their hand. Yeah. And I haven't seen that with a lot of people, with a lot of groups, right?
Yeah, you always got to wait for something. And with this one, it was like immediately. It was real quick.
Yeah, and like I said, and obviously that's a perk for people that are local to where we're at. And so, the cool thing is you got people clamoring in about a million other cities that want their bottles, and so we'll get it to them. Like I said, we want to focus, and so to us, I think the utility's there, the roadmap's there. Our thing is we'd much rather under promise and over deliver early on, because we've seen so many other NFTs get burned by, oh, we're going to do this, and this, and none of it comes to fruition. It's a bunch of smoke.
Yeah, it's all talk.
Yeah, it's all talk to get people hyped up, right? And for us, it's like, look, we're not going to do that. We're going to guarantee what we can guarantee. Like, I could announce today probably another really, really amazing partnership that'll give a ton of free benefit and value to our members. But it's like, look, I'm going to wait until we get there's another cool thing that this company's going to do with us. But I just want to wait until we've got everything lined up so we can make an even bigger announcement. Because like I said, I've seen other companies, they'll tease it and they'll say, oh, we might be able to do this. But it's like, no, until we've got something signed and something in hand that we can guarantee it, we're not going to do it. Just because it's not fair to our community to kind of, tease people and think that something might happen when people, a lot of times, they know damn well it's never going to happen.
Yeah, I mean, sorry to cut you off, but people really get their hopes up with these NFT projects. I mean, if you really just look, or obviously random NFT projects that really have no official backing, they just have the same copy and paste roadmap as oh, we're going to save the world and give all of our holders we're just going to keep airdropping them Ethereum until they are all millionaires or whatever. But it's great to see that your project is actually, or the team actually cares about what is the utility, what's going to happen, what's the future, and you're making. It's one of the first kind of collaborations I've seen where it's with a huge brand name company, especially with Maker's Mark. And I was explaining this project to some of my family members and friends, and they're like, "Oh, here's Michael again talking about NFTs, blah blah blah." And then I was like, "Guess what? They're partnering with Maker's Mark." And then obviously people's ears don't peak up like a dog, but you could tell they're like, hold on, what did you just say? Explain that again. What is this? You're talking about the Derby, some horses, a specialty bottle of bourbon? Continue. I want to learn more about this. So it's kind of just crazy to see that. That's what really makes you all unique, and especially with the bottle part. I was especially after the pre-mint and that, I was part of the pre-mint. And I was just scrolling through Twitter that night, and I saw the meetup people had the bottles in their hand. That really drove kind of viewership and engagement with the community, because they're all the people that pre-minted were wait, I can actually get this. I want it now. Come on, this NFT project has future. This is real. I want it. I can't wait for the mint. And that actually made more and more people that didn't even pre-mint be wait, I made a mistake. I need to get in. I need to join the Discord. And I remember after the pre-mint, the Discord just blowing up with people, which is crazy to see.
Oh, it was, and it still is, right? I mean, I've still got people hitting me up every day, should I buy one on OpenSea? And that's the crazy thing too, right? We never expected the transaction volume on OpenSea for just the pregame NFTs to take off. I think there's been over 11.2 ETH traded or something crazy like that.
Yeah, it was that day, and I was you know what? I want to see how much these are trading for right now. And it was the first day that they dropped in was pushing 1 ETH.
It's crazy. I
First
mean,
I
it's just like we never thought, I mean, I think we probably thought, potentially, but I think,
not that quick.
no, not that quick, man. But I think, I don't know. It's been a blast to see it come together, and really to get the community involved, right? Because like, going back to the Discord blowing up and it being authentic, like, you look at, I'm a member of a number of other groups, and you get in there and you're like, oh, they've got 7,000 Discord members or 10,000 or 20,000, and I'm like, wait a second, I'm like, our Discord is way more active on a daily basis. And it's like, then you realize, same with Twitter, right? I mean, all these people are buying bots, and it's not real. It's real, don't get me wrong, but I'm saying, like, people are fudging their numbers, and that's something we've been adamant about the whole time. It was like, look, we're not paying a dime for, any bots or any fake accounts. You know what I mean? It's like, look, I'd much rather have a community of 100 people that want to be a part of this than buying 10,000. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And it's been really cool, and I think the community appreciates that authenticity as well, because it all is organic. I mean, it's like we're doing this, and they're on the ride with us, and that's what's made it a ton of fun.
Yeah, I'm excited, even though like I obviously can't partake in the collaboration with Maker's Mark. I can still appreciate the utility, and I'm also like, I have a number of family members who are huge bourbon, not even bourbon collectors, but just bourbon aficionados, and they would love just to have a bottle in their collection just to look at, which is crazy to see. But yeah, I'm just excited for the future, like that this entire NFT project has.
Yeah,
especially with the work you all are doing.
No, I appreciate it, guys. It's been a blast. Like I said, it's interesting because, like I said, I've done other startups, and normally you kind of have a traditional roadmap, but this thing, it can bend and twist on a dime. And it's kind of fun to ride these waves. But I think the cool thing is, like I said, just the team we've got makes it tolerable, and it makes it fun to do it as well. So, but yeah, it's been a blast, no doubt.
Yeah. Have you guys thought about doing any other collaborations with other companies? Like, obviously, like Louisville Sluggers in here. Have you thought about like maybe doing like a bat with their NFT on it or whatever?
Yeah, no, it's a great question. And we spoke with Slugger. They're in an interesting, not a predicament. Like, you've got the Major League Baseball strike right now, which really will impact their business. In the timing of it, like, they're literally about to go into baseball season one way or the other. They also opened up a brand new, I think it's called like a hitting facility, and then I'm blanking on the name, but I mean, it's state of the art. They dumped a ton of money into that, and so the thing is, like, they get it and they were intrigued. The problem is, like, they're just spread really thin right now, timing wise. I think if we would have hit them up like in the winter, we could have probably worked something out a little quicker. But it's something we definitely want to partner with them on. It was something we were actually thinking about for our under 21 crowd. Was like, hey, if they can't get a bottle of Makers, well, let's hook them up with a bat, and maybe we dipped it in some red wax or something. And so there's still conversations going, but I think that'll be one that's probably pushed more towards later in the year. Another one that people have asked a lot about was Churchill Downs, and we've had a number of calls with Churchill. Just in full transparency, they're awesome. The issue with that is, like, their main sponsor is Woodford Reserve for the Derby. And obviously, Makers and Woodford are very competitive whiskeys. And so once we pretty much said, look, we're tying our horse literally to Makers, it kind of made things a little more difficult on just a true Churchill Downs track partnership. I still think there's some things we're going to do with those guys. So stay tuned on that front as well. But yeah, you'd be surprised, man. We've had a number of big companies that probably couldn't spell an FT 3 months ago, that want to get in the space. And so we're strategic on who we bring in, because we don't want it to just be some BS kind of corporate grab where every corporate company comes to us and we kind of throw them in there. It's got to be something that makes sense for our community and that they are excited about, and it can actually provide more value and utility to our group as well. So there'll be some more folks that'll come out. We'll probably hopefully be able to announce one. I'm hoping by Friday. It's in the hands of some legal departments. So you guys will find out once you get out into the business world that once you get to legal, that's normally a good thing, but it also can take what feels like forever to get through and get something approved. So hopefully we can get that out by the end of the week, and that'd be a pretty cool announcement. That's another interesting local group that would add tremendous value to all of our holders. So hopefully we can have that out by the end of the week.
Yeah, local is always cool.
Yeah.
Especially with this down.
This is a local global company. Let's put it that way.
Mm-hmm. Especially with local, you have a lot of pride within like the community, and that pride spreads. because it's like it's unique and it's real, so people want to tell their friends about it, and it spreads like that. But we really appreciate you having coming on the podcast today and talking about what the Party Horse NFT collection has in the future and all the real world application it's doing. But we'd like to kind of end the podcast with some fun questions, kind of just to get off the business side. And for my first question, if you could have any superpower, what would it be and why?
Oh man, that's a good one. I think I'd want to be able to read minds, because I've been in enough meetings where I think something's going one way and sometimes it goes a different way. That's probably a gift and a curse, but I think it'd be fun to really know what people are thinking.
Yeah, I mean, I kind of agree with you, especially with superpowers. It's you can go many different ways because you're like, whoa, being able to fly would be cool because I don't have to like buy any. I don't need a car anymore.
Yeah.
But in like telekinesis, you can just like pick stuff up with your mind. That'd be cool. But yeah, being able to read minds would be pretty fun. But then you'd learn like way too much about people. I feel
right.
like
That's what I'm saying.
It's like pros and cons.
Yeah, it would definitely be a gift and a curse. That's for sure. If I could turn it off, that would be ideal.
Yeah. So for my kind of question, who's your like main role model in life? I know with like investors, it's Warren Buffett or whatever. Who's the person you look up to?
I always looked up to my dad, and he did well on the business side, more on the sales stuff. But I think I really learned a lot and picked up. I think what's probably the most important thing in life is just your attitude and keeping a positive outlook, even when things don't go your way. So yeah, that would, it's probably a cliche answer, but that's the person that comes to mind for me.
Yeah, that's great to hear. Especially a lot of people look up to their dads, especially when they have a big part in their life, and it's just great to see that you're kind of homegrown, similar to Alex and I. But for my final kind of fun question, this might be hard for you, but are you a DC or Marvel guy?
Ooh. Usually it's Marvel, but DC's actually done fairly well recently. But I've got a 8-year-old son, so right now it's Marvel all the time over here. We've got Avengers on, at least once or twice a week. What's the new one that just came out?
Batman, the new Batman movie.
No, I want to see that. What's the Asian superhero that just came out?
Oh, I know who you're talking about.
Shang-Chi.
Yeah, that one.
Yeah,
he fired that one the other night and I fell asleep. But yeah, that one. Yeah, I'd say Marvel. And actually, and I don't know if it's really superhero, but we've been watching Free Guy quite a bit. And I don't know if you guys have seen that. That's a pretty funny movie with Ryan Reynolds.
Yeah,
that's a pretty
I've
solid
seen
one.
It. I haven't watched it personally.
Yeah, it's a good one. But yeah, definitely more on the Marvel side right now.
Yeah, I kind of agree with you. It's really hard. I wouldn't say I'm a radical DC fan or a radical Marvel fan. I kind of just appreciate all of it because why would you just hate another company just because? I mean, they both make great movies and they have great characters, and it's just be positive and enjoy the content. But we just like we said earlier, we really appreciate you coming on the podcast. And if our audience was looking to find any of your social media handles and anything, like how would they find you, and like what's your social media so they can find the Party Horse?
Yeah, you want to just easiest place to go is partyhorses.com, and that has all of our handles from Twitter to Discord to Instagram. I think that's all the main three we've got. So yeah, you can follow us at Party Horses on Twitter. Let's see, it's discord.com GG / Party Horses, and then Instagram is just at Party Horses. So, but yeah, partyhorses.com will give you all the information you need to pick whatever channel is easiest for you, and that's where you can find all our stuff.
Yeah, I mean that's good to hear. Thank you. Obviously, if the audience is listening or anyone listening at home, please go check out the Party Horse NFT collection and also any social medias that they're associated with, and join the Discord. I will pop in every now and then. I know Alex has been in part of the Discord as well, but I will say thank everyone for listening today. If you all want to follow our own social medias, you can follow us at NFT_Nation_podcast. That's on Twitter, TikTok, and Instagram. It's all the same, so it's easy to find. And also, we have a YouTube channel where we post the full episodes on as well, so they're very easy to find. So yeah, guys, we appreciate that. If you want to go give us a follow, you can also give us 5 stars on any or on our Spotify, which helps us grow because we're a very small podcast here. So yeah, guys, we really appreciate you all listening today, and have a good one.